In today's video, we are going to get lots of inspiration from Magnolia's website and also the Hearth and Hand line by Magnolia at Target. Then hit up some local thrift stores and see what we can do for a whole lot less. I'm obsessed with Magnolia's warm, organic, cozy style, but let's be real, sometimes the prices are a little out of reach. This little plant caught my eye. Even though it looked a little sad, it did need some love, of course. Since this was broke, they gave it to me for only 25 cents. Then this planter was $1.81, but I got it for only 90 cents on sale. I love the asymmetric shape on it. Of course, like with all the thrifted finds, this planter needed a good cleaning. I started off with some multi-purpose cleaner spray, but quickly switched to Dawn dish soap and water for a better clean. The plant wouldn't fit in the planter directly, so I initially thought I can tear up the plastic and put the plant itself in the planter, but it was stuck on there. So I plugged just the stem out to put into the planter. I used some packing paper I have on hand, thank you Amazon, as a base in the planter to give it some structure, then added the stem. I also added the moss from the old plant into this planter to top it off. I love how it turned out. Even the most basic looking planters at Magnolia can be pretty pricey. This one with its almost lotus looking shape caught my eye, and I wanted to challenge myself to come up with something like this for much cheaper. I found this at a local thrift store that looked very similar in shape, but you need to update it a little. This was $2, but I got this on a 50% off day, so I got it for only $1. I mixed up some white acrylic paint and baking soda and dabbed it all over the base for the base layer. The paint and baking soda mixture is a great trick to get some texture and make it look handmade. I did not paint the bottom as it had a marking and I wanted to keep it. I love how the markings add character and history to an item, so I try to keep as many of those on my thrifted finds as I can. I let it dry for a couple hours and then did the second layer. The original one from Magnolia had vertical textured lines, so I attempted to freehand those with a wet paper towel. Throughout the process, I kept referring back to the inspo picture to try and recreate that look. Then used magic eraser to remove the price that was marked. I brought the planter out to spray paint the inside of it to keep it all one uniform color. Using this Magnolia Home spray paint in true white, I did some very light coats to finish this project. Here's how it's looking styled on my mantle. I have been eyeing this Magnolia Candalabra forever. It's stunning, but $40. So when I found this rusty black metal version at the thrift store for just $1, I knew it had potential. First, I soaked it in some rust remover. The instructions said it works best on a wet surface, so I used a wet paper towel and soaked up the item. Then I went in with the rust remover. Personally, I found it easiest to do this with a wet paper towel, but you can also use a brush to spread the gel. I then waited 10 minutes before I washed the item and let it dry. Since this was metal, I first went in with some self-etching primer spray paint by Rust-Oleum. This step preps the item and helps the actual spray paint last longer. I waited 10 minutes for this to dry, then went in with some gold metallic spray paint, also by Rust-Oleum. You can stop here, but I wanted to finish it off by dusting some oil-rubbed bronze spray paint for some dimension. Now you can obviously stick some candles in here, but I wanted to try something different and play with these test tubes and some florals for this time of the year. Got these test tubes on Amazon, and then I have this big white floral stem on hand that I just trimmed into individual stems. I used stickum on the bottom of the test tubes to make them stand straight. Now this candelabra styled on my mantle is such a vibe. These distressed vases have become so popular, and for a good reason. I've been trying to find a vase of a similar shape and I found this one for only $1. The design on this is obviously dated, but we will update it. First thing I did was give it a good clean, then went in with the same white spray paint by Magnolia. Again, the trick to spray painting is to do it from a distance and to do very light coats. If you cover it up completely in the first coat, you're probably not doing it right. Projects like these need at least 2 to 3 coats depending on what you're doing finish wise. After spray painting another coat and letting it dry overnight, I brought it inside to do the floral design. I'm going to use these floral napkins I found on Amazon. I'll link them down below, and Mod Podge to glue it. You'll also need some paint brushes and some water on hand. First step is to remove the layers on the napkin, so you're working with just one thin layer. Then cut it up into smaller pieces. I saw this trick of wetting the corners of the cut up pieces with the wet paintbrush to make it blend seamlessly, so I did just that. I started off with bigger pieces first, then went in with the smaller pieces to fill in any gaps. Once the vase dried down, I went in with brown acrylic paint to distress it a little. The mistake I made here was using a dark brown color first. I switched to a lighter color for the second coat, but the first color still peeked through. If I were to do this again, I would just use the light color for both the coats. For the first coat, I tried to water down the paint, but I realized that was unnecessary and just used a wet paper towel for the second coat instead. Here's how it turned out, also styled on my mantle. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite DIY and if you try any of these for your own home. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a budget-friendly DIY. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.